Long, long ago, before airplanes, before ships with engines, before the internet, people in China discovered something amazing. They found out how to make a soft, shiny cloth from the cocoons of tiny worms. This cloth was called silk. It was smoother than anything else in the world, and it shined like water in the sunlight. The people who lived far away in other countries had never seen anything like it. They wanted it so badly that they were willing to pay huge amounts of gold and silver just to touch it and wear it. This is where our story begins, more than 2,000 years ago, when China built the greatest trading road the world had ever seen. The road was not really one single road. It was actually a huge network of paths, trails, and routes that stretched across deserts, over mountains, and through valleys. Together, these paths connected China all the way to Europe. Later, people gave this network a beautiful name. They called it the Silk Road, because silk was the most famous thing traded along it. But the Silk Road carried much more than just silk. It carried spices, tea, paper, gunpowder, jade, and even new ideas about art, religion, and science. Let's imagine we are traveling back in time to see how this all started. About 2,000 years ago, during a time called the Han Dynasty, China was ruled by smart emperors who wanted their country to grow strong and rich. One emperor sent a brave explorer named Jiang Qian on a dangerous journey to the west. Jiang Qian did not know it yet, but his trip would change the world forever. He traveled through dangerous deserts and past tall mountains, meeting new people and seeing new lands. When he came back home, he told the emperor about all the different kingdoms he had seen, and about how much people in those faraway places wanted Chinese goods, especially silk. This gave the Chinese rulers a wonderful idea. If people far away wanted silk so much, why not trade it with them? And so, merchants, which are people who buy and sell goods, began to travel these long paths with their camels and horses loaded with silk, ready to sell it to people in other lands. Slowly, over many years, more and more traders joined in. Cities grew along the road, filled with markets, inns for resting, and stables for animals. These cities became meeting points where traders from China, India, Persia, and even Rome would come together to trade their special goods. Traveling the Silk Road was not easy. It was actually one of the toughest journeys anyone could take. Traders had to cross the Gobi Desert, where the sand stretched on forever, and the sun burned hot during the day, but the nights turned freezing cold. They also had to climb over the Pamir Mountains, which were so high that snow covered them all year round. Robbers sometimes attacked traders, stealing their goods and leaving them with nothing. Because it was so risky, groups of traders traveled together for safety, using camels because these animals could survive without water for many days in the desert heat. Even with all these dangers, people never stopped traveling the Silk Road because the rewards were too great to ignore. A trader who successfully carried silk all the way to Rome could sell it for an incredible price. In fact, silk became so popular in Rome that some people said the Romans were spending too much gold buying Chinese silk. It became a symbol of wealth and elegance. Only the richest citizens could afford to wear it, and everyone else dreamed of owning even a small piece. But silk wasn't the only treasure moving along these roads. Spices like cinnamon and pepper traveled from India through these same paths, adding delicious flavors to food far away in Europe. Chinese paper, an invention that changed the way people wrote and shared knowledge, traveled all the way into the Middle East and later into Europe too. Gunpowder, invented by Chinese scientists, eventually made its way west, changing how wars were fought forever. New fruits like grapes and melons traveled east into China, giving Chinese people delicious new foods they had never tasted before. The Silk Road allowed more than material goods to travel. It carried ideas too. Buddhism, a religion that started in India, traveled along these routes into China, where it became extremely popular. Chinese art, poetry, and inventions traveled outward, influencing cultures far beyond its borders. Because so many different types of people traveled and lived along the Silk Road, they shared their languages, their foods, their music, and their beliefs, creating a beautiful mixture of cultures. This exchange of ideas helped shape entire civilizations, making the world a richer, more connected place. As trade grew bigger and bigger, Chinese cities became famous around the world. The city of Chang'an, which was the capital of China during that time, grew into one of the largest and busiest cities anywhere on Earth. People from many different countries lived there together. Walking through its streets, you might hear many different languages being spoken at once. You might see traders from Persia selling beautiful rugs, or travelers from India sharing stories about their homeland. Chang'an became a symbol of how connected the world was becoming, all because of trade along the Silk Road. Not only goods and ideas traveled along the Silk Road, but also animals never seen before. Horses from Central Asia were brought into China, and these horses were bigger and stronger than the horses Chinese people already had. Chinese soldiers loved these strong horses because they made their armies faster and more powerful. In return, China offered its beautiful silk and other treasures, making trades that benefited both sides. This exchange of animals helped shape armies and transportation for hundreds of years afterward. The Silk Road did not just connect faraway kingdoms, it also connected people's daily lives in surprising ways. Farmers in China began growing new fruits and vegetables brought from other lands, adding to their diets and improving their meals. Musicians learned new songs and rhythms from traveling performers, mixing sounds from many cultures into beautiful new music. Even recipes for cooking changed, as spices and ingredients traveled from one place to another, creating delicious new dishes that combined flavors from different parts of the world. The Silk Road, we also brought about big changes in technology. Chinese inventions such as the compass, which helps travelers know which direction they are heading, spread across the world thanks to trade routes. Papermaking, another amazing Chinese invention, eventually reached the Middle East and Europe, changing the way people recorded information forever. Before paper, people wrote on materials like animal skins or papyrus, which were expensive and hard to find. Paper made from bamboo and other plants was cheaper and easier to produce, helping spread knowledge faster than ever before. As centuries passed, the Silk Road remained important, but it also changed over time. Sometimes wars or political problems made travel more dangerous, causing trade to slow down. Other times, powerful empires worked hard to protect traders, making the roads safer and encouraging more trade. Despite these ups and downs, the Silk Road survived for hundreds of years, proving just how important it truly was to connecting different parts of our world. Eventually, new ways of trading began to appear. Sailors discovered ocean routes that allowed ships to carry goods faster and in larger amounts than camels ever could. Slowly, trade by sea became more popular than trade over land, and the importance of the Silk Road began to fade. But even though camel caravans stopped traveling these ancient paths, the impact of the Silk Road never disappeared. It had already changed the world forever, connecting different cultures, ideas, and inventions in ways that continued to shape history for centuries afterward. Today, thousands of years later, people still remember the incredible story of the Silk Road. Its legacy taught the world how valuable trade and connection between different cultures truly are. Countries around the world learned that by sharing goods, ideas, and knowledge, everyone could benefit and grow stronger together. This is something people still remember today, especially in modern China, where huge trade events called the Canton Fair take place. The Canton Fair, held twice each year, gathers thousands of merchants and buyers from all around the world. just like ancient traders once did along the Silk Road. Although the Canton Fair looks very different from ancient trade routes, filled with modern buildings, computers, and airplanes, rather than camels and deserts, its purpose remains surprisingly similar to that of the ancient Silk Road. It is a place where different cultures gather to exchange goods, ideas, and friendship, just like traders once did thousands of years ago. In many ways, today's global trade, connecting countries through shipping, technology, and communication, is like a modern version of the ancient Silk Road, proving that this incredible story from long ago still influences our world today. So next time you touch a piece of silky fabric, taste a spicy meal, or even write on a piece of paper, remember the incredible journey these things took to reach you. Remember the brave traders who crossed deserts and mountains, facing danger and hardship, just to share their treasures and ideas with the world. The story of the Silk Road reminds us that trade is not just about buying and selling goods, but about connecting people, cultures, and ideas across great distances. It teaches us that even thousands of years ago, our world was already becoming one big, connected community, sharing treasures and knowledge that continue to shape our lives even today.